You were designed to faint. It means that prayer, according to Luke 18, was designed to be a protocol for resuscitation. A protocol for resuscitation. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall, if they live long enough, they will utterly fall. He spake this parable to teach that men ought always to pray and not to faint, because they are designed to faint. When they get to that point that they are about to be short of breath, there is a technology, is a divine facility that has been made available to them to get past fainting, which is natural. It means every time they begin to pray, what they do is to restrain the fulfillment of something that is common to all, using a divine access. That's prayer. It is the switching off of natural essence and entrance into that which we have been made partakers of as regards divinity. It's not just communication. It's for those who understand that they were designed to ultimately get to the end of themselves. And in case they don't want to park at the filling station, they have kept their eyes not just on the road, but also on the fuel gauge. And when they find out that they may just be stranded in the bush because there's a red alert, what they do is to switch into prayers, because fainting will very soon define every man's destiny if prayer is absent. That is why we pray, not just because we want things, but we are about to become victims. Shout as much as you want, be strong as much as you want. If you live long, you'll be tired, and the things that may not have been able to overcome you in the seasons of your strength will subdue you when you become weak. So the way to stay strong permanently is to consciously switch off your natural strength before it gets finished and you switch on another one. Next verse is in Matthew chapter 26 verse 41. Jesus speaking again, he said, watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. Everyone will be tempted, and temptation here is presented in the similitude of a territory in which a man betrays his master, a territory in which a man betrays destiny. That territory is mobile. It can show up even in church, it can show up in the bank, it can show up in an exam hall. You didn't plan to cheat, but when you hooked, a territory is moved close to you, and then you are offered entrance. If you watch and you pray, you'll be able to walk past that gate without going in. When believers get caught for exam malpractice, I used to pity them. But you know the reason why many believers get caught? Many of them are not like that. The people who cheat, they don't get caught. Those ones, they planned that if they come like this, but you don't know how to swallow paper when it's still hard. They know how to leave it here, and then when they go out, they now drink coke. The thing will go down. If you drop out of prayer and watch, every gate that comes to, even very cheap gates, will open to you and grant you admittance. That's what Jesus is saying. The reason is because the spirit is indeed willing, and the willingness of the spirit is to escape here the gates of temptation, to stand on the side of God, but the flesh is weak. So what prayer is used to do here is to switch to between or to switch the realities of the most powerful. When we begin to pray, the spirit acquires more energy to subdue the flesh, but when prayer is absent, the flesh glories over the spirit. I found out that even in communications, because listening to wrong counsel from the soul, from Satan, is also entering into the gates of temptation. Who should I marry among these two people? What work should I do? I have two offers. Which one should I do? One might be the will of God for you, and if that's the will of God for you, the second one cannot be the will. Are you with me? It's either this or that one. But the other one may look, what's the name of that eatery itself? There's a word I want to use. It may also look tantalizing. It comes with an aroma. Now if you take this job, you'll be going to Lome. Every at least you're traveling out, you'll be going to Lome twice in a year, and maybe South Africa once, and then that's good. But those opportunities do not necessarily mean that God is in it. If you are not prayerful, those fragrances that come from the job that is not God's will for you will be louder than what the Spirit is saying, and you will fall for that temptation. A temptation is designed to first deliver pleasure, then pain. That's what a temptation is. So in case you are tempted and you yield and you're enjoying the pleasure, say, God, no even try. It's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It always comes good. And then when you journey with the good, it now unlocks the evil. If you met Eve, or you meet her in eternity, and you ask, how did that fruit taste? Don't you think she'll be able to tell you? See, by mere looking at that fruit is sweet, and I tasted, it's like they poured honey into it. But before you begin to, what's that word? Before you begin to salivate, she tells you, but by the time we finished, we were naked. So it's good and then evil. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. These two statements were to reveal the relationship or the posture of the spirit and the flesh towards God. So the spirit is willing towards God, but the flesh is weak towards God. It means it's stronger away from God. As regards your temptation, your flesh is stronger. Are you getting my point now? So this definition is towards God, but there is a temptation. Your flesh has a higher propensity to embrace the temptation than your spirit. All right, Acts chapter 2 verse 42. Then we're going to now go full blast. And they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, and in breaking of bread, and in prayers. And they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, and in breaking of bread, and in prayers. So there were four cardinal expressions of the foundational apostolic movement. They had a doctrine, and that doctrine was not varied because of how you felt. They stayed true to that doctrine. They had fellowship, they broke bread, and they were all in prayers. It was a sustained expression. All right. So we'll use these 3 verses to try and bring instruction